Alright, this is Mental Cases by Wilfred Owen.
Alright, mental cases. Is the title significant in any way to the meaning of the poem?
Well, the title is somewhat sarcastic. It has an undertone where he uses sarcasm. It's kind of like these war heroes, they return home and they're put in these facilities and treated like a freak show. People just look at them as like they're mentally ill and they're just treated like freaks, really.
Alright, that's pretty cool. Is there any literary devices, imagery, or word choice that could add to the meaning of any of the parts of the poem?
Well, he starts off with a series of rhetorical questions. He says, "Who are these? Why sit they here in twilight?" So it kind of puts emphasis on these and they. Like, who are these? Why sit they here in twilight? It kind of just shows how they're kind of stripped from their human factors. They're kind of just like, ew, who is that? What is that? What are they doing here? That it gives you the sense of that.
Alright, what about the format? Does it add any significance to the meaning of the poem?
Well, the format, it's broken up into 3 stanzas. And the format, along with the rhyme scheme, it has no rhyme scheme. It's just a series of questions and sentences. So the first stanza kind of gives you a kind of grossed out look on these mental cases. It says things like drooping tongues from jaws that slob their relish, baring teeth that leer like skulls' tons. It kind of like grosses you out a little bit. But then the second stanza kind of comes to their defense and it shows an insight of what they've had to go through on the battlefield and what they endured on a day-to-day basis. So it kind of gave you like, whoa, like that's awful. And then the third stanza shows how they're living today and how they just can't even function normally because every time they just wake up, a new day comes. It says, dawn breaks open like a womb that bleeds afresh. And obviously it's a womb that never is allowed to heal each day it opens up and it just is painful, it hurts, and yeah.
Alright, so you're saying the connotation is really important.
Yes.
Alright, are there any shifts in the poem or like really significant pieces of format change?
The shifts it's kind of like what I just stated with just the first stanza and the second stanza and third. It kind of gives you a sequence of events that occurred, and it gives you a sense of what these men are like now.
Okay, so this poem is kind of weird, but does it relate anyway to the author, Wilfred Owen?
Yeah, he has a background of obviously being in the war, but he really had anger towards the war. And reading up on him, he first started off like, oh, I don't really care about the war, it's not my responsibility. And then he was like, you know what, I'm gonna go in. And he was like really giddy about going in. He was like a boy and wanted to fight and was excited about it. And then he just, after coming back, after he saw what he saw and the true reality of war, he has anger and so much like built up hatred towards it that it's really shown in here, as the last sentence says, "Pawing us who dealt them war and madness." So it brings out war and it associates it with madness.
Alright, I think that's it, but do you have any other symbols or anything really that would add to the meaning?
Well, there's a lot of imagery playing in this. As one sentence says, batter of guns and shatter of flying muscles, carnage incomparable and human squander, ruck too thick for these men's extrication. So the word extrication, like the only time I've really heard that is when you get in a car accident and you can't take yourself out of the car, so someone has to come in and take you out. So it just really shows the density and the numerous human bodies that were there on the ground, that they had physically pull out. And then there's another sentence that, oh, I restated, the dawn breaks open like a wound that bleeds afresh. So that really just gives you an insight of the pain and it's gross. And,
Yeah.
yeah, that's pretty much it.
Alright. Cool.
Um,
You want to
Yeah.
add something?
No.
Alright.